businesses are not less bad, but that businesses are actually a positive force to contribute to addressing the issues that society has, so to make it a better place for everybody. If we achieve that, then citizens of this world will be very happy to have us around. That's why you see these brands that are more purpose-driven grow faster. So indeed, some targets were at 2020, but we've already set some targets further. Our energy targets to be totally green in all of our value chain, we have that by 2030. Plastic, which is becoming a big issue, we put a target by 2025. So we make this a continuous process. What will be happening after 2020? Obviously, I'll leave that perhaps to some other people to think about and do, but we are thinking about some of these things. And if I spend 2 seconds, the first thing is we need to move faster into thinking about making more of our brands even stronger purpose-driven. It starts there, so that they can grow faster. Not all of our brands are at the same quality as the best in class. So bringing more of that purpose to our brands to fulfill the missions of the Sustainable Development Goals, these famous 17 goals, is a very smart thing to do, I would say. The second thing you have to do is, in terms of resources, we have to think much more of how we embed the circular economy thinking into our plans and become regenerative. Not good enough to say we stop deforestation from happening, we need to actually start planting trees, otherwise the numbers don't add up. So on the environmental side, I can see it moving much more to circular economy, regenerative. And then on the social side that you were referring to, on the social side, I think we're getting a bigger issue that we need to start facing about the future of work. And with the fourth industrial revolution coming in, artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, there will be a lot of people excluded from the workforce. The income divide will go up. You see that happening now, already starting to take place, and we as a company need to continue to look at that and actively provide solutions in this area of what I simply call human rights. So this is really our thinking of the Sustainable Development Plan, and obviously with input from a lot of people, I'm sure that we will have this for a long time to come. Your other question was on living wages, which actually ties into this. We have to be sure that everybody has a fair chance to have a living. And we are obviously working very hard to define living wages, first of all, across the world, because there is no definition. So we are members of the Fair Wage Network, for example, to help do that. Mercer has put a network together where we are part of to help define that. Especially challenging in emerging markets in the rural sector with agricultural people. How do you define fair living? We'd like to be part of moving that discussion forward. We also have built our responsible sourcing code, where we demand from our suppliers, which is really where your question was, we demand from our suppliers certain standards of what we would call fair living. Minimum acceptable wages, but also minimal acceptable labor practices. If these suppliers in our value chain don't fulfill those requirements, we spend first our energy on moving them up. We've worked that with 22,000 suppliers last year. Our capabilities simply aren't more, but we have 70,000 suppliers. If suppliers cannot be worked up, then we will drop the suppliers. When we look at new suppliers, we set our standards. If these suppliers don't meet it, we don't take those suppliers. We refuse many more suppliers than we take. There are many more people who love to work with us, as you can understand. And then we work very actively when we see violations, which we have. We actually publish our human rights report. May I regrettably say that we are one of the few companies that issues a human rights report. I thought when we were going to do this, which tells you the challenges and the opportunities as well, that many more companies would follow, because that transparency builds that trust. Unfortunately, we haven't seen that. But what you will see is that there are some suppliers that if they don't do the things, for example, take passports away, or not cover social security, or not pay people for overtime, and or pay people less than what we would consider to be the minimum wages, we drop those suppliers.